Trust. That's all I have to say. Trust is why I am here and why I'm not going anywhere. It's trust. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review. Listen, this is season 11 of American Horror Story, and this is AHS NYC. And as I said before, trust. Trust is actually why I'm here and why I'm not moving. I trust Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk. So I trust that they're going to take this and twist it into something that satisfies my AHS palate. That's it. That's all. Quite honestly, this first episode, I feel like it's very straightforward. The story, the writing is cool. You know, the writing, it's what it is, but a little flat. Okay. I could feel the sense of Ryan and Brad. I could feel the sense of them being there. I could feel what it is that they put down, but it's very straightforward. And the AHS twists are very, very subtle in this first episode. Now, keep in mind, there are 2 episodes that actually released tonight. I watched one and then I sat to review. So I have not watched the second episode. The premiere is 2 episodes, but this is just part 1. So I am reacting to part 1 only. So when you're watching this, don't start yelling, don't start typing just yet, because I literally only watched the first episode. This is episode 1, and I'm going to give you what I got from episode 1. So let's get into it. I will say I feel like I'm watching New York Undercover for the most part. It just sounds like a cops and robbers story about a serial killer. Flat out. That's what I actually got from this episode. I'm not bored though. Y'all know I don't like cops and robbers. I'm not into cops and robbers. Something better shift. Somebody better shake something. And there were little shakes. I got it. There were little nods, like Ryan was tapping me on the shoulder saying, James, just hold on. I got you. I got you, Spillitboy. Don't just chill with me. And I trust you. So I'm going to chill with you. And then y'all got to trust me. So you're going to chill with me, and I know y'all do. So let's do this. Okay, let's do what it is that we do. Now, New York City. Listen, the funny part about this, we usually have a lot of teasers. There were beautiful photos, beautiful macabre photos that came out, but really late. The actual title of the show didn't actually get dropped until September 29th. September 29th, they dropped that the show was going to be called AHS NYC. And I said, where are we going to go? New York City is a dazzling place, but there's definitely an underbelly to New York City, where New York City could be a very scary place. So I'm just hoping that it's not like, because I think hotel kind of let me down, because I think hotels and hospitals, though they are there for good reason, hotels and hospitals, I believe, are some of the most scary places in the world. And hotel let me down. It could have been so much more. It really could have. It could have been so much more. So I'm just hoping that this is not what this is. It just seemed like, okay, AHS, New York City and a serial killer. Boring. That doesn't. And I'm like, okay, this is right off the back of the whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing that we just did. And I definitely did that. And I'll leave the link to that. Anybody that didn't see my coverage of Ryan Murphy's Jeffrey Dahmer tale that was on Netflix just a few weeks ago that debuted. Right off the cuff of that, I was like, you know what? Please don't take me down the road of just another serial killer story. Because, again, this is where the trust comes in. All right, so let's start. I said that before, didn't I? I didn't. Okay, I'm really starting this time. Down off my soapbox, but don't bump, bam it, I'm back. Okay, let's get started. New York City, 1981. 1981. Okay, first thing we see some stewardesses and we see a pilot coming into New York City. We see, nothing out of the ordinary. We see a little stewardess. She rolls up on the pilot. She's trying to throw that thing at him. And he basically tells her, no, I'm married. Wrong hand. I'm married. I'm married. She tells him, listen, these little things, they just slide right off. And he's like, no, I'm not. No. Girl, I don't want it. Take your little box and go on about your business. Is what he gave her. Then we see him go in his room and he gets ready. Baby, he's not into you. He took the first thing he did was took the ring off, baby. But he's into leather. I said, uh-oh. So, all right. So here's it. We're going to talk about our leather community. I said, all right. So we're going the gay route. And New York City. Okay, still stereotypical, no big deal. We're going to go the gay route, and then we're going to go the leather route. People don't understand our leather community, and some people actually fear our leather community or think that they're strange, or they get the leather community gets the same rap as like the trans community, as the drag community. It's that kind of the ballroom. They are another subset of LGBTQIA that people don't understand, and some people fear, and some people turn their nose up at. The leather community is definitely one of those communities. Yeah, I'll say they get a bad rap. But I understand for what this is. Yeah. You could definitely pull some fear and some uncomfortability with this. So I said, okay, good target. I hate that they're being targeted, but I get you and I understand it, and it's going to work. It's definitely going to work. So we see that the pilot is really into leather. We see him get his little stuff on. He puts his little things on, and he heads up to this rooftop spot. We see him get down in a whole little glory hole situation. Very quickly, it speeds up. He ends up headless in the Hudson. You hear me? Not headless horseman, headless in the Hudson. And then it's 91. So the police are making their little crude jokes, which I'm sure some of them still make crude jokes. But back then it was no real big deal to make crude jokes about our people back in 91. They said, well, the one thing that he was doing whenever he died, he was giving head. I said, oh, that was shady. It was good old nasty piece of joke, but it was shady. Later on, the head is actually found somewhere else in the city, and there is lacerations on the head, and they find a dark blue handkerchief stuffed down in his mouth. I said, okay. I said, oh, you're really taking and poking that stick at the leather community. I said, okay, here we go. So nobody really knows what that really means. In the heterosexual world, they don't know what that means. They're just like, oh, okay, well, I don't know. It's just this dark blue handkerchief down the throat of the head. It's like, okay, weird. Anyway, so that's that. Then we flip over and we actually see there's this scientist. She's actually doing some research. There is deer. She's researching deer on Fire Island, which she's finding that they're dying, and then there's this very fast mutating infection that is being found in these deer. And then she says, what we need to do, we need to wipe them out. We need to wipe them out. Now, I think this is really a lot of symbolism, is what this is. But I said, okay. And they're like, well, how are you talking about that? And she's like, listen, there's infections that are born every day. That's how they're born. They mutate in this, that thing, and the other. And she's all into this whole containment thing and how they're going to kill all the deer over here on Fire Island. I said, really? So we only see another little piece of that toward the end. And it is like a lot of symbolism. And just pay attention. I'm paying really close attention to this. Oh, it's this one little group. And it has this little issue. What y'all think the issue is that they hinting at? But yeah, we just going to wipe them all out. That's what we're going to do. And you see like a team of rangers and police officers. They got these deer and they're just like bumping them off. I said, oh, okay. I see you. I see you. And I get what you're saying. The deer are being hunted. The people are being hunted. The gays being hunted. I said, interesting. Anyway, so that's really all we actually see of that. So I said, this is the AHS thing. That's the AHS thing coming in. I said, okay, I got you. Because we always got to have 2 or 3 different angles of things going on. I said, I still don't have a supernatural. I have something really weird going on as far as the world and the environment and its attacks. And I got a person on person going on. And now we only need something supernatural to actually bring this thing full circle. So my trust will actually say, bang, we're here. So I said, keep watching. So then we go in and we meet this couple. The couple is comprised of Patrick and Gino. Patrick is a closeted police officer, very close to the murders, okay? And then we have Gino. Gino is a journalist who is very frustrated with the relationship between him and Patrick because the journalist, Gino, is actually out. He's out. He's he's around my age, his early 50s, late 40s, early 50s. I don't know. Gino look like he might actually be mid 50s. Yeah, he might be mid 50s. And Patrick, I'll give maybe late 30s, early 40s. Fine. Both of them, they're both good looking. But baby, listen, let me tell you something. That Patrick is something else. Anyway, but the murders are actually being suppressed by the NYPD. Of course, naturally, I don't want to get into it. We actually see where Patrick actually goes to the chief, and the chief is like, listen, 5 bodies in New York City is nothing but a weekend. That's not, he said, no, I got a feeling here, and I feel like it's a pattern. And the chief blows him off. He blows him off. So then we have another character here. We always have a bunch of characters we got to learn right in the beginning. Adam. We got little Adam, sweet Adam. Something's going on with Adam. Adam's been has pulled himself away from the nightlife. He's like hanging out with his friend Sully. And Sully's like, I got to get you up out of here. Sully's a party boy. Sully, sells a little drugs on the side. Sully's like, yeah, I got to get you up out of here. Let's hit it. So he ends up luring Adam to come out. They go down into the park. They're down in this little trestle, and it's all the gays is down there doing what they do. Okay, they're out there doing what they do, and it's where people need to be following their first mind, LGBTQIA or otherwise. Adam didn't want to go. Adam wasn't comfortable. Once he got there, he wasn't comfortable. And listen, you're not supposed to be where you're not comfortable. Sully meets up with a little guy. He leaves Adam. He's like, oh, he said, well, what am I supposed to do while you are doing what? He's like, have some fun. and he leaves him. And he basically, Adam just ain't with it. He's out there sitting on the bench, just chilling. And eventually, some time has gone by, and like the rest of the people who are down there, like hooking up, they done all hooked up and did whatever, and everybody's leaving. Now we got Adam down there by himself, and Adam runs into this, what we'll call him, the leather man for now, the leather man. And baby, he big and strap. He's like huge. He is huge. Okay. And he has this leather mask and he has his harness on and, sexy. He's sexy, but something about him was a little off. Okay. It's like a sexy, but it had a real hint of danger to it. It just didn't, it was like, oh. Okay, let me do that for you one more time. It was oh. That's what it gave. So Adam's like, listen, I don't want any trouble. Right away he got that. When I get that feeling, it wasn't about no sexual healing. Adam bust out running. Okay, he ran from him. I said, I know that's right, Adam. He said, baby, oh no. So he gets to running. Another man's in pursuit of him. And he's hollering for Sully. And then Sully hears him. So he stops what he's doing and he's running and he's, hollering for Adam. Some kind of way, the leather man ends up behind Sully. Sully's like running through the woods. They down in through it's a park, so it's not, it's woods, child. Too many trees for me is the woods. Y'all know I don't play around with the woods. When the trees in my yard get too wild, baby, I get some taken care of. I don't do wooded areas. I don't do too much trees blocking out sun. I just don't do it. It just doesn't feel good to me, and I just don't mess with it. Like I said, when the trees in my yard grow a little too wild, I get them girls right together. No, if I can't see around you, bitch, you gotta go. If I can't see to the other side, I gotta go. Anyway, so they're both running in some kind of way. Adam, they're separated. They run in different directions. Sully ends up falling, and when he gets up, we see the leather man behind him, and then that's it. We don't see Sully anymore. We see Adam go to the police station. They're basically blowing him off. He's just missing. Nothing else has happened. So we're all in with Adam at this point. Adam is just in a funk. He's running around looking for his friend. He doesn't know. He's trying to figure out something out. And of course, the cops are not helping. So then we are at this little establishment, and there's Adam. He's there. He's kind of like asking around. And we run into a guy, Theo. Theo is a photographer. Okay. Theo's a photographer. And he actually somebody points Adam to Theo because there's a picture of the actual leather man on the wall. And it was like, who did that picture? He says, it's Theo. So they kind of point him to them. And then it's just like that little 6 degrees of separation. Gino is actually there at the bar. Gino is actually hearing some of the conversation with Adam. He over there ear hustling. And he ends up giving Adam his card and tells him, I overheard. I'm a journalist, whatever. Adam kind of blows him off a little bit, and that's that, but he leaves him with his card. Like I said, the bartender points Adam toward Theo. Theo actually they didn't get to talk that night, and Theo actually is eyeballing Adam, but he's already with a little date, okay? And Adam's a little looker. Theo's cute. Theo real cute. And he goes on, he's just a little hot thing, little artistic, little, how photographers can be sometimes. He's cute though. After that, we end up seeing Adam and Theo get together. He comes to the loft. Now, there's this loft where I believe this is where this is where Theo lives, okay? So he gets there and it's full on. He's doing a photo shoot and all of this. But when he gets there, when he comes up to the loft, I'm like, ooh, this loft is very, is all I can say. It just kind of kind of feel like, oh, I'm going up in there. But he goes up in there. Then we end up, he's asking questions. Theo is steadily flirting at Adam. Okay. He's flirting. Um, Everything is very sexually tense for Theo. Adam is just in a funk because it's been a few days now, and he's worried about his friend. They got a lot going on. Really not paying any attention to any attraction. Theo, he just wants answers. So Theo's giving him, you want my time, and I'm not charging you or anything. You need to be, I'll answer questions, but you gotta let me take some pictures of you. So he's taking the pictures. He makes him take his shirt off and everything. And like I said, Adam's a looker, baby, got a body for you and everything. So he's telling him to take the pictures and he's asking him these questions. And he says, well, what about this picture? And he tells him about the picture. And he says, he says, when I was young, I always seen the beauty in different things because he showed like these leather pictures and harnesses and chains. And he's like, some people would actually see chains and things and a little bit of bondage, and people see disgust and they see something perverse. I see like roses and pretty flowers when I see that. I see it a different way. He says, my grandmother was psychic. She's from Haiti. I said, ding, 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 ding. Here we go. Here comes my supernatural stuff. So grandma was a psychic in Haiti, and back in the day was accused of being a witch. Had a lot of grandkids. Theo was her favorite, and said that he's the one that she had actually passed her powers on to. So he just said it, and I was hoping. I said, "Oh yes, come here and give me a male witch or a male soothsayer or a male." Give it to me. Give me this person with this femininity and this sixth sense or this heightened sense of give it to me. I want it. So I was like, please, yes, let this be what it is. And hopefully he's not just talking. He wasn't. He got something going on. Okay. And if I forgot to say, also the name of this episode is actually Something's Coming, is the name of this episode. So anyway, so he goes through all that. He asked him about the picture, and he said, oh, that sounds like Big Daddy. He said, yeah. He said, I haven't seen him in, years. But yeah, his name was Big Daddy. Everybody kind of knew him, but I haven't seen him in years. Then things got cut short. He hears the door. Before the door, even, that's why I said, yeah, he's psychic. Before the door, because you can hear the elevator doors. Before you even hear that, he says, put your shirt on, put your clothes on. He just cut everything short. So Adam's putting the stuff back on, and in walks Sam. Sam is Theo's boyfriend, okay? He got money. He's in the film industry some type of way. I think he's pretty grimy. He just seems very grimy and sideways. Just Theo's like a boy toy. It's a boy toy that's actually has the talent, but more or less for Sam, I think he's like a boy toy. And he said to him, after he leaves, Adam leaves, and he's like, who's that? He's like, oh, nobody, whatever. Just blows that off. So he says to him, he says, I don't know, he says, something dark is coming. Can't you feel it? Can't you feel it when you're like walking around in the streets? And Sam said to Theo, oh God, you're starting to sound like your grandmother. So I said, oh, we're here. Okay. So that's cool. So we're going to leave them. Now let's go on over to Patrick and Gino are having this conversation. Now, Patrick is closeted. Patrick, he tells Gino, I'm too close to things. I definitely can't be, it's not for me to be giving you exclusives. He said, I'm not about exclusive. I feel like we're being hunted. Even though you're not out in the community, you owe it to the community to, this, I should be getting this information out. And he's like, yeah, but the way things are, I could lose my job and lose my life for telling too many secrets from the NYPD. He's like, I get it, but he's frustrated. But he gives him a little bit. And he tells him, he says, what does a blue handkerchief mean? So Gino basically takes Patrick through a real quick session about handkerchiefs and which pocket they're in and what the different colors and different shades of the handkerchief means in the LGBTQ, well, in the leather community. It's more so in the leather community. He gives them this really quick crash course. And he says, well, what is dark blue? And he says, dark blue means that you're actually into anal. He says, okay. And he doesn't tell him this stuck in the head or anything like that. He didn't go into any great detail, but he kind of pointed him in a direction, said, something about a brownstone bar which is the funny part, because Gino does hang around in the brownstone bar just a little bit, I guess. He knows exactly where it is. And he told him, that there's some type of involvement. Go ahead and snoop around, but be careful. So he kind of pointed him in a direction and told him, be careful. Then we see Patrick having a sit down with his ex-wife, and he's serving her these divorce papers. You actually see that they very much were, I'm sure they were friends. You see the heartbreak in her, and you see the sorrow in him for even taking her through it. And this whole thing of like, he knew, why didn't you just tell me? It's that whole thing. Oh, that's always sad. But then she said to him, she said, you and your secrets, you and your secrets. And then she goes on. And then the next thing we know, like I said, we see Pat and Gino. We see Gino now. Gino's out doing his business. He's down at the brownstone. He met up with this older guy. He sends a drink, and the older guy, they start talking. And he's like, no, I'm not interested in you. I'm actually involved, whatever. But I'm a journalist. This, on and on and on. So the guy gets to tell him, he says, yeah, no, the brownstone. He said, I hear you're a frequent here, this, that, and the other. He's like, yeah. He said, but no, he says, there's another bar, though, that is called the Hope. And he's like, yeah, there's a guy that, sometimes this guy hangs out, and like I will see the guy, and then he kind of likes guys that like my type, like me, and he said, he said, I can't give you too much information because I'm listed in the book, baby, and I can't have no serial killers coming after me, girl, and all that. And he says, but that the Hope, you might want to check out the Hope, because I will see the guy, and he would come in all the time, and then I see him leave with guys, never see those guys again. So who knows? Maybe that's it. And he just kind of goes on. It was a little cryptic, but again, a conversation between two older gays. Cryptic, honey. I said, whatever. But at the same time this conversation is going on, back at the ranch, we see Patrick. Now, keep in mind, the wife just said, the ex-wife just said, you and your secrets. We see Patrick going into the closet to this box, to this lock box he has in the closet, and it opens it up. And baby, I said, oh, Patrick. Patrick got all kind of little goodies, honey, all different color handkerchiefs, all little cock rings and little things, a lot of little goodies, honey, a lot of little leather goodies. I said, oh, Patrick, I said, now, wait a minute. But now I'm looking at body types. Big Daddy, Big Daddy's body is like, he is big. Patrick is tall and built, but it's more of a athletic built. Okay. Big Daddy is like juicy. So I was like, I don't know. But the whole thing, Patrick got secrets. Patrick had a whole conversation with Gino, knowing damn well you knew all the answers to everything anyway, because you got some of those trinkets, those little goodies. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So this is getting good, child. So then we see Gino going down the street, and he's actually going to head on over to the Hope. is what he thought he was doing. And you see him, his like visions kind of blurring, and the next thing you know, it says, "Oh yeah," and you see him bumping into people, and then you see some guy. The guy's kind of tall, but he says, "Yeah," it says, "Look like somebody slipped something in your drink." This that thing, and then somebody slipped him a Mickey over at the bar. It either has what had to be the bartender. Had to be the bartender. I don't know. Maybe he was asking the wrong question. I don't know. Somebody slipped him a Mickey, and whoever this guy was, we couldn't get. He said, "Who are you?" You know, couldn't get a good look at the face. He then swept them and pushed them into a car. I said, "Oh Jesus, okay." So Gino's in a car. That's it for Gino. We don't see Gino. Um, then we end up seeing Sam and this guy Freddie. At the same time, at the brownstone, when Gino was having his conversation with the older guy, we see Sam with his grimy ass. I told y'all Sam don't sit right with me. Sam's having a guy with this guy named Fred, having a talk with this guy named Freddie, shooting him up with these. He's selling these dreams of stardom and all of this. Oh no, I'm this and I'm that and all this, that, thing, and the other. And oh, don't worry about it. You know your image. I got you. Just that's that, all of that, luring him back to the loft. He ends up luring him back there. We see Freddie coming to the loft, okay? When Freddie gets to the loft, Big Daddy is at the entrance of the loft. I said, what the hell? He's standing there in the doorway. And because he's so big that you can't help but you just see him and you just like stop. Like, you know how big like Jason is and how Michael Myers are, like they're big dudes. And when people see them, they always just kind of stop because they're so huge that they just kind of stop. And they're all clothed, and there's no sexual thing with them. But Big Daddy got it going on. He's sexy, but again, he's alarming because he is so big. So he stops him at the entrance, and he's like, "Oh, Sam told me to come," and Big Daddy just kind of like stands to the side and lets him go. He goes on in. So this is strange to me because he just goes on in. He goes up, into the apartment. He ends up going up, and they're up there, and Theo is taking pictures, and Sam's in on it. They're taking pictures and this, that thing, and the other, and he's having them to undress. And I guess things kind of went down. He said, "Okay, this is boring. Get nude." He did the whole creepy producer guy thing. Did all of that with him. And then he says, Theo ends up asking, after all of that, he ends up sending him wherever. And then it's just a thing where we got Theo talking to Sam. And Sam saying, after that, don't you want to have sex? He's like, no, hell no, get out of here. Like, he's pissed with it. Like, you being disrespected. Sam's coming on to the guy. And, he just ain't feeling it. He's like, no. But then he asked him, said, "You remember that guy that I took the pictures of, Big Daddy, when I did a couple shoots with? Have you seen him?" He ends up completely blowing him off, like completely blowing him off very quickly. Ends the conversation. He's like, "Oh yeah, he died a couple years ago," and he's like, "Oh." Now, in his mind, because he got a whole lot going, he got another little something going on. That answer ain't sit right with him, but he's like pissed off about everything else. And he's like, whatever. I'm unbothered. I'm hot, I'm young, and I am really unbothered. But he got a little thing. See, what that happened is he got a little thing for Adam. The whole little Adam thing that rubbed off on him. So that's that. We end up later on, we see, and I'm thinking this is late that night, we see Theo at the bathhouse. And he's at the bathhouse with Adam. And they're talking. So in the bathhouse, you have your little towel on and all that. You can't really walk around the bathhouse with clothes on. So they're sitting there and they talk. And he ends up telling him, he says, "Yeah, I'd asked around about Big Daddy. I found out Big Daddy died a couple of years ago." He's like, "No, that can't be, because I actually seen him. I seen him. I ran into him. I was face to face, and I know it's the same guy." He's like, okay, blows it off. And then the conversation goes. And then you see him making eyes. Theo makes eyes with this little hot little guy. And he's like, "Listen, no disrespect." He's like, "It's not that you're not, where I would really get you all the way together. But I like a little something, a little bit more, you know, just don't, I don't need to know them. They don't need to know me. And it just ends where it ends. And he's like, but yeah, but you're definitely doable. So don't take this, the wrong way. And he ends up going on off. And I said, okay, so he actually does. He says, the only thing he said, only reason why, he said, I actually have a lover. Like, you know too much about me and all that. I got a lover and all that. But he got a little liking for him. So he goes on. You don't want to do him dirty. He goes on back there with whoever. Another little guy rolls up, and I was trying to think, I said, is that Freddie? Because it looked like Freddie. But anyway, the other little guy, little curly haired guy, comes up and he tries to get Adam to come with him into a room and do a little something, something. And Adam's like, no, And this is the scary thing. This is where it's scary, okay? So we see little guy. He ends up going into a sauna room, at the bathhouse. And keep in mind, Adam's right downstairs, right there sitting. He's just sitting in the bathhouse. Him and Theo. Theo's in a room doing what he do. He's sitting down there. The guy goes into the sauna, and he's in there, and it's real smoky. You don't see much of anything. And then he turns around, and Big Daddy's up in the sauna. And that's kind of where it actually cuts out. And I'm like, okay, that's what's scary, is that you're out here trying to research Big Daddy, and y'all are right in the same place. Y'all are right in the same vicinity with each other and just not running into each other. And the fact that Big Daddy was literally downstairs at the door of Theo's house, and Theo never even knew it. But for some reason, Sam knew, because the way Sam blew him off, that just did not. That did not sit well with me. And I don't know. It just was really strange. And we see all of this. And this is where I say it was like this whole symbolism, because the two scenes ran neck and neck at the same time, where we got Big Daddy basically hunting boys around town. He got the boy in the sauna, and looks like things ain't getting ready to go well for him. And then at the same time, we're flipping back and forth, and we see old girl who is the scientist, and they're hunting the deer, and then they're doing away with the deer. They're literally hunting and killing all these deer at the same time, and they're running simultaneously. And I'm like, okay, so yeah, there's definitely a scary aspect there. There's definitely a whole thing of specific groups that seem docile being hunted and wiped out. Oh, Brad and Ryan. The trust, like I said from the top of this, I trust you is why I'm here. I'm going nowhere. It's very interesting. And I'm so glad that it like I said, this episode was not all ghoul and gore and macabre. It was very much story building, being told very well. But I trust it's definitely going to give me my whole American Horror Story experience. So y'all just keep on hanging on, because I'm hanging on. I ain't going nowhere. Are you hungry? I'll see y'all on the next episode. I'm going to go watch the second episode of this premiere. I'll talk to y'all in just a few shakes later.